Very good morning, children. So today we will study about a chapter from chemistry called atoms and molecules. Okay. Atoms and molecules. See, ancient Indian philosophers and Greek philosophers and thinkers, they were under confusion and they wondered about the unseen particles of matter, and that was a question mark for those philosophers. Okay, but in India there was a philosopher called uh, Kanad, Maharshi Kanad. Okay, so question mark was about the matter, unseen matter, unknown matter, how is it inside, how it is possible, how is it there, and what makes to atoms or any particular substance to behave in that way. Okay. So Indians had a theoretical knowledge, philosophical knowledge about one substance nearly in the 500 BC. They were already known. They had the knowledge of about the individual matter of a substance. Okay. So Maharshi Kanad. Okay. So what he did, he took a substance. If you take a substance, you go on dividing until it reaches a particular stage where that particular substance cannot be divided. So for that he called that substance, in the sense it is a padarth. Okay, in Sanskrit it is a padarth. Okay, so in English we call it as a substance. Okay, so this padarth, when you go on dividing, last stage comes where the possibility of further division of this substance is not possible. For that he called as Paramanu or atom. Paramanu, in the English we call it as atom. Okay. So this idea of divisibility and study of this matter continued, and here there was one more scientist called Katayamu, Pakuda Katayamu. So he said that any particle of any matter is made up of two or more substances where they differ in their properties. So he told in general, and all the philosophies whatever they told, it was completely scientific base is not there. It was only theoretical and philosophical based. Okay. So at the same time there were two philosophers in Greek, Democritus and Leucippus. Okay. So because Democritus, he also told that when you take any substance, it go on dividing, at last one particular particle of remain that is indivisible. So he called that as atomos. Means this is a Greek word. Atomos is a Greek word. Okay. Atomos means indivisible. Atomos means indivisible. Atomos means indivisible. Okay. So he also told that any particle, if go on dividing, one particle remains which is indivisible. So for that he called atomos. And from Greek, when it came to England and London and all, it became atoms. So they started calling as atoms. So indivisible particle of any substance is called as atoms. Okay. And for all this there was completely only what? Background of philosophical, because they were great philosophers and thinkers. scientific reason was not there. Scientific proof was not there. Only they told theoretically. But there was a scientist called Anton Lavoisier. Anton Lavoisier. Okay. So this happened in the 16th century, 17th century, because science started developing and with evidence. So he gave what clue about the elements, existing elements and compounds. Whatever the substance, whatever the material are made, they all are compounds or elements. Or elements can be made, or compounds are made by using the elements. So law of chemical elements was given. Okay. So chemical science started by the Lavoisier's period, because there was proof, scientific proof was there, experimental proof was there. So these were only theoretical and philosophical. So experimental proof was given, these both, but he gave two laws to prove the chemical laws. So that laws were called laws of chemical combination. Laws of chemical combination. Laws of chemical combination. See, so based on the study of Greek and even Kannada and study of particles or atoms or individual particles, two scientists, Joseph Proust and Anton Lavoisier, they experimentally conducted what? Experiment to prove that any substance is made up of a compound, or a compound is made up of one or two elements, because the concept of elements was given by Lavoisier. So based on his theories, they gave proof as two laws. So first law is called a law of first one is law of chemical combination. First one is law of conservation of mass. What is mass? Don't think that mass is like mass is weight. No. The total content in any object is called mass. Total how much it contains, it's called mass, and its mass, when it related to gravity, it becomes weight. Okay. Now, to prove that, then there is one more question. If there is a chemical change, okay, or chemical reaction, do you find any change, or same chemical properties of the chemicals earlier and afterwards remain the same? So for that they tried to prove experimentally what they did. Okay, so there we can have one simple experiment we can perform in general. Okay, so we can take barium chloride, okay, so this we can call it as X, okay, and sodium sulfate, this we call it as Y. Okay, so you take these are solid form. You take a pinch of that, little you take, and you prepare a solution of how will you prepare a solution? Mixing both in water. You take 10 ml of water plus this, 10 ml of water plus this. Okay, 10 ml of water. Okay, so where you take this? What you do? First you take one conical flask like this. This is a conical flask, okay. In this conical flask, first what you do? You add this solution of barium chloride. Add here. So this is X, okay. And you take a small ignition tube. Actually, ignition tube you might have not seen, but it is a test tube you might have seen. So smaller than that test tube will be small, like this much size. Smaller than that, this much. So size of the ignition tube will be very small. In that ignition tube again you take what? 10 ml of sodium sulfate solution you take, okay. And to that ignition tube you tie what? With a thread. You tie a thread to that ignition tube, tie with a thread, and that you leave it where? In the conical flask, okay. And this thread should be outside only, and cover with a cork. Cover with a cork. You have covered it, okay. Now this is X and this is Y. Now what you should do? First you take weight of only conical flask with solution barium chloride. Suppose conical flask and solution of barium chloride BaCl2, okay, is 2.5 ml, okay. And again you take weight of this what? Ignition tube. Ignition tube weight may be what? Sodium. It contains sodium chloride, Na2SO4, okay. And you assume that its weight will be 3.5 ml. 5 ml, okay. You assume its weight. Then, so just if you keep the structure as it is and take the weight, measure the weight. So what you will get total here? Here around 2.5, 6 will get. You totally will get how much? 6 ml of solution, both combined. Means before mixing you take. Actually you should mix later. So first you take the weight of what? Barium chloride solution and measure the weight of this sodium sulfate. Then after some time you what to do? You take the conical flask and tilt and twist. Tilt and swirl it like this. Swirl it means like this, mixing up. Means the solution from this will mix with this. What? Y will come and mix with the X. So when they both mix up there will be a chemical change. What is a chemical change? Whenever there is formation of new substance, such a change is called chemical change. Means again there is formation of barium sulfate and sodium chloride. Okay. So their weight actually we will not get it. Their weight will be completely how much? When you measure the weight, when you take the weight of that, its weight is also 6 ml. Its weight is also 6 ml. So before the reaction, the weight of, see, different elements are there. Different elements combine and form a different compound. But when these different compounds mix up each other, they form other different compound. But mass remains the same. 6 ml is here before the reaction, before the chemical reaction. And when you measure the weight, when you take the mass or weight of this, the same weight of the after the reaction will be 6 ml only. So this will prove what? Law of conservation of mass. What does it say? What is the statement here? Great statement. Mass is neither created nor destroyed during a chemical reaction. Mass is neither created nor destroyed. Means mass of any substance or mass is neither created nor destroyed. So this is called a law of conservation of mass. So mass is neither created nor destroyed is the law of conservation of mass. Okay. So there is one more law. Law of constant proportion. I will give one example, you will understand. Suppose you take any chemicals, whatever the source, the elements remain the same. Okay, I will give an example. You take water from borewell, water from what? RO water, potable drinking water, water from river, water from tunnel, water from that dirty water. All water if you take, what? The mass or the content of water remains the same. Means water is made up of what? Hydrogen and oxygen. What are the source? It remains the same. Means what are the chemical elements, what are the chemical compounds are formed, the contents remain the same, the elements remain the same. So water is formed by the ratio of, it contains 1:8. Means 1%. It is actually the ratio of water is how much? 2:16. So simpler form if you take, it becomes 1:8. Means 1 part hydrogen and 8 part oxygen becomes water. Means in 1 gram of water there is, in 9 gram of water, there is 1 gram of hydrogen plus 8 gram of what? Oxygen. Proves. Okay. So it contains 1 gram of hydrogen and 8 gram of oxygen. This is the case, hydrogen and oxygen. So when you combine these both, you will get 9 gram of. The same case is with ammonia. What? Ammonia is NH3. Means it is 14:1. Means it contains how many hydrogen atoms here? 3 grams. See, so you take maybe 14 grams, 14 plus 1, 15. Ammonia is completely 14 plus 15. Okay. Right. It is 1:14 means actually it is hydrogen 1, nitrogen 14 times. Means 1 gram of hydrogen plus 14 gram of what? Nitrogen. So what does it say? Law of definite proportion by mass means the number of elements, whether it is any other compound, the ratio of the mass or the ratio of the any substance remains the same. That's why we call law of definite proportion by mass. Law of definite proportion means this was given by Lavoisier. He proved that any substance, in any chemical substance, the ratio of 2 or more elements will be the same. The ratio of 2 or more elements will be the same. In this way, this is a law of definite proportion or law of constant proportion. Okay. I think see, so here law of definite proportion was given by Joseph Proust. So he said that in a chemical substance, in a chemical substance, elements are present in definite ratio by mass. Elements are present in a definite ratio by mass, in definite proportion by mass. Okay, so he said that here I think it was a little clear. See, nitrogen and hydrogen are in the ratio 14:3, means 14 gram of nitrogen and 3 gram of what? Hydrogen. Okay, forms how much? 17 gram of ammonia. Okay, so as per the law of definite proportion, in a chemical substance, elements are present in definite proportion by mass. They are present in a definite ratio by mass. So based on all this, there was one more problem. Scientifically, it should be proved. It was a big question for all. So Dalton, a scientist, a chemist, he took the ideas of matter, formation of matter, ideas of atoms, okay, ideas of divisibility of atom, formation of matter or particulate nature of matter. So he took the ideas, okay, and he took the ideas of what? He considered these both as basic for his law. Dalton's law he made. What? One basic is he took the ideas of law of constant conservation of mass and law of definite proportion of mass. He took that and he tried to prove scientifically, prove practically the law of chemical combination. So this was the foundation for the proving of law of chemical combination. Okay, I told. So John Dalton, a scientist, he took the idea of divisibility of substances, okay, particulate nature of matter from the Greek philosophers, okay, and even Indian philosophers, and he tried to prove the nature of matter, and he tried to prove the two laws of chemical combination with suitable evidence. Okay, these are your basic concept related to law of chemical combination. One law is law of conservation of mass, and one is law of definite proportion. So these laws both played, all two laws are important, and they become the foundation for many of the scientific evidence. Thank you. Have a nice day.